Hello again, and happy day after Easter. There hasn't been much going on other than schoolwork and stuff, again, keeping me busy from doing videos, but a bit of a interesting 944 update. Originally, I was under the impression, or for actually the last couple months, I'd been under the impression that somehow my cooling system had been not working properly, because basically the car would be running near that little hash mark on the temp gauge right over there, and it would always be running there, and that always annoyed the heck out of me, because I was thinking, oh, I must have done something wrong, because my 944 never runs that hot normally. And as it turns out, that was unwarranted paranoia for absolutely no reason, because there were a couple of things I learned over the Easter weekend that have given me the conclusion that, well, I've been worrying about absolutely nothing. Push the car back off really quickly. And the first thing I realized is that, unlike newer cars, where they always read at the mid for their temperature readings, which is because it only fluctuates when it actually needs to say, oh, hey, your car's overheating, this car has a constant, consistent readout of how the engine is, well, what its temperature is like. So if it's running hot, it's actually running hot. If it's running cold, it's actually running cold. And really, the car never overheat. There was no instance of it overheating at any point. The second thing I found out is that it turns out that my water pump and thermostat are actually working properly. What I did was, well, one test you can do with these cars is you can kind of just take the upper and lower coolant hoses to the radiator and just squeeze them a bit and see if there's any, you can kind of feel any coolant flow, or if there's any pressure from the fact that there's coolant in the system. And, well, there is. And it's going from the upper radiator hose to the radiator, and then the lower radiator hose, which connects to the water pump. So the radiator's actually getting coolant, the engine's getting coolant, so it's actually running properly. But what I did find out is that I actually did mess up one minor yet kind of annoying thing. A couple months ago, when I did the thermofan switch, as you saw in one of my previous videos, the second 944 Life episode, as it turns out, I bought a low temperature fan switch instead of the stock temperature. Now, what the consequence of that was that, well, oh, okay, it's not going to do it anymore, but basically, whenever I'm driving, the cooling fans are constantly running when they don't need to be, because they need to, it's trying to undercool the car is what I think is going on. So, it's really windy out. So basically, I'm working the fan motors harder and longer than they need to be, because it's just not necessary for it to be constantly on all the time. It's supposed to be an intermittent system where it only comes on when the engine needs some extra cooling, and then comes back and turns back off when it doesn't need it. So what I have to do is I have to order another fan switch with the stock temperature. The one I have is about 5-10 degrees Celsius lower than the stock temperature fan switch. But because I've done that job already, it's only going to take me about 40 minutes or so to actually get it done a second time without as much of a mess as the previous time. The other thing I have to do is, well, I have to get a new sun visor clip. This thing right there. Right here. There it is. Because, well, when I bought the car, this was just already snapped off, and the visors are already just sitting like this. Well, I mean, kind of like that. But because of my seating position, this thing's always rubbing on my head, and I kind of find that to be a bit of a nuisance. So, I'm going to go ahead and order a new one of those as well. Until then, it's just going to sit like this and bob up and down on bumpy roads. But for now, yeah, that's pretty much all that's going on with this car. When it warms up a bit more, I'll get down to the suspension bits and whatnot. But for now, this is all that's going on. So, yeah. Thanks for watching, and see you again next time. Also, a bit of bad news. The 9/11 Life episode that was going to go over the valve cover gasket change is probably not going to happen, because when I went to go look for the files that I'd done of the video on my GoPro, they were missing. Well, most of them were missing, the ones that covered the actual portions of removing the valve covers, taking out the gaskets, scraping them off, and then putting on the new gaskets and putting it back together. The only parts of that video I have left are me jacking up the car, starting up the car with the oil warm-up, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So I might do something with those videos, those small clips, eventually, but for now, gonna have to do a different video for 9/11 Life for the first episode until then, so oops, my bad, sorry about that. But until then, thanks for watching, hope to see you around. So you guys have a great day.